Back now to our top story as the administration threatens action against Syria if that country does resort to using chemical weapons against its own people. This comes after Fox News confirms that Syrian troops now have the deadly nerve agent sarin gas weaponized and at the ready. Joining me now, retired Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin is a former commander of Special Operations Forces. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer is a senior fellow at the Center for Advanced Defense Studies. Guys, welcome so much. It's a pleasure to have you both here. Thank you. General Boykin, let me start with you. I mean, your background is incredible. An original member of Delta Force, the world's premier special operations unit. You've served in Vietnam, Iran, Mogadishu, Iraq, Afghanistan, worked with the CIA. Your thoughts on whether Assad would really use chemical weapons against the Syrian people and whether there's any way to stop it right now for the United States?
Well, first of all, Megan, I don't think that the fact that he's mixed the chemicals is necessarily an indication that he intends to use them. I think, though, if he is cornered, if he has no option left, that it's very possible that he will. I think what the key to this is finding someone that will give him asylum so that he knows that there is a way out of this. But ultimately, if he has no place to go, I think that he will use chemical weapons in a desperate effort to save his regime.
There are reports, Colonel, that Assad is seeking asylum in Venezuela or Cuba. This is unconfirmed by us, but there are some reports out there that he is seeking it. Is that something we should be rooting for?
Oh, absolutely. I think his best interests, really, and everybody involved, is to actually have him go in that direction. And I think the Russians are the best suited to do this, both as an ally and as someone who's helped arm him. And let me be very clear here. We cannot afford, from the policy perspective, to see military action result in the diminution of the central governance capabilities of Syria. We have to retain the army, retain the government. So he should leave, the government should stay, and that's the best possible option for all to see this situation resolve itself favorably.
General Boykin, if Assad leaves, if no chemical weapons are used, Assad leaves, he gets asylum someplace, what are we left with?
Well, you're still going to see factional fighting in there. I mean, because of the number of people in the rebel forces that have been killed and the number of people that have been brutalized by this regime, you will still see factional fighting. But if Assad leaves, and as Colonel Schaefer said, we do maintain some semblance of a central government, there is at least a chance for some kind of reconciliation and some kind of government to be formed that represents more than just the interest of the rebels that are fighting against Assad today.
That is the best case scenario we can hope for right now. Unfortunately, we still have to deal with the potential worst case scenario. And that is that, well, to begin with, we have to send troops in there to stop the unleashing of chemical weapons on the Syrian people. Colonel, how could we accomplish that? We've heard numbers of 75,000 ground troops. Would that be American troops?
Well, we can't. It's not practical. We have right now options. We have two carrier battle groups nearby that could be used for air campaign. We have special operations forces in a third country. I don't want to disclose where it is, but they're ready to act. The biggest thing we have to do, our objectives, national objectives for the United States, is to make sure those chemical weapons don't fall into the hands of terrorist organizations that could use them against us or our allies. Secondly, then, to preserve our allies in the process of doing this. A ground campaign of any nature will see us most bloodied. You have Hezbollah then would be emboldened, and I think you would only make things far worse. So therefore, while I think we need to preserve our initiatives, the best ones right now are making sure that Assad leaves and that we secure those WMD, because and the Russians should play a role in this. The Russians supplied them. This was said earlier on your show regarding the fact that the Russians are now recognizing they have a hand to play, and a very big one at that.
You know, I can't help but wonder, General, what happens if those weapons do get into the wrong hands? What if some Al-Qaeda affiliated terrorists get their hands on these chemical weapons? I mean, how much sophistication do you need to use them, to get them out of Syria, to use them against Western interests over on, in Europe or potentially here?
Well, Megan, it doesn't take much. First of all, your previous guest, I think, was very clear in terms of the volatility and the danger of these chemical weapons. I think that the fact is that because we know Hezbollah is already integrated with the rebel forces, that we should expect that when Assad leaves, if there is not some stability within the government, they will wind up in the hands of Hezbollah as well as Al-Qaeda. We know that the rebel forces are infiltrated by entities that would use those things in a terrorist act. And by the way, one of the places that needs to be very concerned about this is Israel, because they have been a primary target of most of these terrorist organizations. So I think it's a very dangerous situation, and I kind of agree with Colonel Schaefer. You know, we've got to stop them from falling into the hands of these people. We must do all we can, but I do not support U.S. ground forces. I think that their coalition needs to be formed using Arab nations like Iraq, like Jordan, even Lebanon, to be the ground force if that's what's required to stop these things from getting loose and used by the terrorists.
Good counsel, gentlemen. Thank you both so much.